Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's running.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.
Yo, welcome to episode 47 of the Two Bobs Cast. We're an A to Z rock and metal podcast coming to you weekly with a new band, A to Z, breaking down the discography and whatever other morsels that my partner can come up with.
Morsels.
Morsels of yummy information. As mentioned, I'm here once again with my partner, Mr. H, the genius one. How you doing, Mr.
Genius
H?
one. You could call me semi-sweet morsels.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
What's
Okay.
up, man?
Not much. Hitting the Deftones this week. This was. I'm gonna say this is more enjoyable than I thought it would be.
Good. I'm glad.
So I know you love them,
I do.
and you stated as much. You've stated your love for them during this week.
I have a
And
romance for the romance.
I loved them
Yeah.
a lot at first, and then they kind of dropped off my love list, and their Kiss wasn't on my list anymore. And then, but going back through here, there's a lot more good stuff here than I remember. So I had a really hard time. I know you did too, as we texted back and forth a couple of times. I had a really hard time ranking some of these albums. A lot of them are good to the same level, and I really was trying to split hairs, trying to figure out where to put them.
Yep.
So this should be interesting. I know you had a lot of problems rating them as well. So
Yeah, it's
this
just
should be fun.
just a really consistent band. They're one of those bands that they have a sound. You're not going to mistake who they are. I don't care if you listen to the first record. I don't care if you listen to the most recent record. It starts and you know who it is.
It's very true.
It's not all that dissimilar to a band like ACD. They have their sound where you just know who it is.
Korn.
So,
I mean, yeah, there's bands where the singer's distinct, the way that the music's written is distinct, the guitar riffs are distinct. Like there's a lot of stuff about them that only sounds like the Deftones. There's nobody that really comes close to how they sound. So you're absolutely right. You know right away whether or not I like the songs, or they have 2-minute intros that I want to poke my eardrums out. I still know it's the Deftones.
Yep.
No doubt about it.
Absolutely. So yeah, had a lot of fun. I told you I listened to all these albums way more than I needed to, but I just love this band. They're not always great, but they're never bad to me. It's just consistent. It's a lot of consistency. Some of it is really weird, and you just have to kind of see your level of weird, but ultimately just a really solid band. So I'll go ahead and send it over to you to kick it off. What do you got on the Deftones?
The Deftones formed in Sacramento, California in 1988 by skateboarding childhood high school friends Chino Marino, vocalist and later vocalist and sometimes rhythm guitar player, Stephen Carpenter, guitar player, Abe Cunningham, drummer, and later they went through a couple different bass players at first, but they added Chai Cheng on bass in 1990, so that was well before their first album came out. So it was these four guys until Chai Cheng's very bad accident that he had that we'll cover later. And then they had the same bass player up until I think last year.
Yes.
After that. So
two
and
total
it's
bass
been
players.
the other three same guys. So this is a band that definitely has some staying power. It's probably good because they do have their own sound. And had you really swapped out guys, I don't know that other people could recreate the sound. They would have ended up having to change, I think. So, and they actually thought about breaking up when what happened to Chai happened. So, the members, they all had different musical tastes that led to kind of their experimental nature, which kind of comes into play a little later, not really at first. And I mentioned last week there is a band that had how many? 34 million monthly listeners,
Yes.
39 million, just some ridiculous amount of monthly listeners on Spotify that I could not believe. And I said I would mention them this week because people called this band the Radiohead of metal. So that band was Radiohead that has 30 whatever million monthly listeners, which is more than almost everybody we've done on our podcasts, except for like 2 bands.
Right.
So, or 3, which is crazy that they have that many listeners because I can't stand them personally. It's one of the most overrated bands of all time, in my opinion. But yeah, they're so popular. I know I'm in the minority. So it's just funny that people describe them as a Radiohead of metal because it's kind of true,
Yeah.
Like Radiohead, beep beep, boop boop, whatever. They do a lot of different weird stuff, and Deftones does the same thing. But the Deftones, I feel like, kind of keep it within themselves,
They
sort
do.
of,
Yeah.
where Radiohead doesn't. They kind of go all over the place. But so I can't stand Radiohead, but I do like the Deftones. So I'm not saying they are a Radiohead, but I was like, that's a great comparison. So I read that, I chuckled, I might have to put that in here. So while they were closing for another band in Los Angeles, the Deftones, most of the audience had left. I don't even know who that band was. I never did see. But they eventually got noticed by a Maverick Records rep who was still there after most people left. They were closing the show after the main act played, which, if you've been to a lot of concerts, that happens, but it's rare. It's not very often somebody plays after the main act, but it does happen. And that happened at this point in their career, and this rep found them and eventually got them signed to Maverick Records. So, I think I've seen this band. I counted 9 or 10 times from 96 to 2006 in Cleveland. I don't think I've seen them since 2006, and they haven't played here since 2010, which is crazy to me. But they haven't played here in a long time. So, but they are coming here in September, I believe, on the 10th at Rocket Arena. So, seeing the set list that they've been doing and listening to these songs, I'm kind of feeling like I'm going to have to go, even though I don't have tickets yet. But might end up having to go to that one.
Yep.
Are you going? Do you have tickets?
I'm
Not
not.
yet?
Nope.
All right.
It's actually funny. I went to a show last night. I went to 311 talking about a band about this time. And one guy I went with is a real big Deftones fan. He's like, I'm going. I'm like, I'm just talking to myself. I'm like, I've been listening to them all week. Now I want to go. So I'm with you. So
Yeah.
we may end up going together.
Yep, we might just have to go. So anyhow, so yeah, it might be 10 or 11 times come September, but they haven't been here in a long time. So be interesting to see what they sound like live now. Have you seen them at any of these festivals at all?
Yeah, I seen them last year at Sonic Temple.
Okay, so you've seen them recently. I literally have not seen them since 2010. I don't think so.
Yep.
Not that I've been to a few of those festivals, but I don't think Deftones were at any of them. Okay, so on to October 3rd, 1995. Their first album release was called Adrenaline. This has 11 songs on it. It's produced by Terry Date, Ross Robinson, and the band. This, to me, is perfect, just about a perfect capture of a raw live band sound in a studio. I fell in love with the sound of this album immediately. It's a little kind of distorted, but it's super clear. You can hear every instrument clearly. It's fantastically recorded, just ridiculously produced. And this is their first album, and they admit they didn't even know what they were doing. Like they've been playing these songs for like 5 years, right? It took them 5 years to write all these songs, and they've been playing them live so many times. They just went in the studio and they were so happy to record that they just played songs and let the producers do their thing, and they didn't think about trying to make the songs better or adding like atmospheric stuff and other things that they would add later. They just recorded the songs as they played them live, and it sounds so good. I've never really heard anything like it when this came out. I mean, I love everything about this. I probably always will. Never gets old. It still gives me chills when I listen to it to this day. And this album is 30 years old. It just had an early grunge sort of gritty studio sound, but it was metal and angry and awesome. I couldn't get enough of it. I saw him twice on this album. Once on that Ozfest, but I was telling Heard here, I don't think I remember seeing him on that Ozfest. I mean, I was there. I know that it was White Zombie, I think, and Pantera, but I don't remember seeing Deftones. So I can't really even say I saw him that time. So maybe it was 9 times instead of the 10 because I wasn't sure. They only played 5 songs. I really don't think I saw him, but I did see him with Downset and Orange 9mm at the Odeon for this album. I wish I saw one of those legendary Grog Shop shows that they talked about even 10 years later when I saw them. You know, every time they'd come to Cleveland, I would see them. One of them, usually Chino, would mention, "Hey, do you guys remember that Grog Shop show?" And they played there 3 times, but I'm sure there was one of them that it was just people were lined up down the street. He tells a story waiting to get in, and like it just was jam packed, and everybody was sweaty, and it was really tiny. And he's like, "I don't even know how we pulled that show off." Just all this stuff. But it's just, I wish I was at one of those and I wasn't. They still talk about them. And they'll probably mention it again in September, I bet. My favorites, there's nothing on this album I don't love. There's probably 2 songs that I don't like as much as the others, but I still like them, a lot. So probably Minus Blindfold would be the weakest song for me on here. It's the second song, but even that one I really, really like. I don't like it as much as all the other ones. So there's 0 skippers. This is an A+. I give out very few of these A+, so you know that I really, really love this album, and I wore this shit out when it came out. I listened to this all the time. My brother loves this album. I think he was at the Downset show with me. This is A+ number 1. I absolutely love this album. I still love it, and I probably always will. What did you think of Adrenaline?
That might be the first debut album that either of us, I think, has given an A+. I think
Maybe.
So that's pretty impressive. I got a lot to say about this album.
Good.
It's you might not say good for a lot of it.
Well, I know that we disagree on
Yeah.
some of this or a lot of this, but I think some of that might be age related or
It
what was
is.
going on at the time and stuff too. Not that you
Yeah.
don't like it, but you probably came into really knowing and really liking these guys at kind of a different stage in what they were doing. So
Yeah, so just kind of a preface. I talked about it early, and we've talked about it a lot. This band is consistent. When this band has a new album, it's my new favorite album. I mean, this is the kind of band this is. So, I love everything they do. I almost feel like John Drake and the Van Halen because you gave that reference earlier in text. I don't think I'm not that kind of fan where everything's an A+ to me, but everything is good. It's just a matter of
I love
what's
that about
better.
you, by the way.
So,
I mean, you got to be able to decipher. Not everything can be an A+, man.
yeah, I mean, especially when you're ranking a catalog, you're ranking it
Yes.
against each other,
Right.
So, Adrenaline is a fantastic debut album. It's everything that you said. It's gritty. It's just, it feels dirty. Like it's a bunch of kids, like angry kids just jamming away. And I was hoping Brian S would show up. He talked a little bit about jamming on this album as a kid in a garage band. Like I've said, me and Brian were in a band together early on. We did a couple really early stuff where we did cover songs. We did a few covers off of this album. We played, I think, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we played 1 week in Root. I think, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Root.
But those 2 we covered, and it's just fantastic. It's just, they were so fun. We were dumb, angry kids. Deftones were dumb, angry kids. It's just, it's really, really good stuff. And does it live up today as it did then? No, is the answer to that. And that's why
incorrect.
That's why it fell for me. I love the direction that this band goes. Obviously, there's a big difference between Chino screaming and rapping to where he's at now. He's got a lot more melody now. He sings a lot. Some of it, again, I get people are like, it's moany. It's very sex positive oriented music. I get all that. I love all that. But this album in particular, it's just different. And I don't think that it lives up to me like it did back in the day. So I love it. There's still so many classic songs on here, but a few of them don't. They're just a little cringe for me anymore. And it, especially 7 Words, is a song that I really loved before. Now I can't stand it. I think it really drives me kind of nuts when it comes on. It's just mindless screaming suck a lot, and he drops the N bomb in it. It's very like it's of its time. It's very not quite there. But songs like Bored, I think, are timeless. That riff is so good. Root, like we covered that song. That's a song I'll always love. Riff. I think Engine Number 9 is just amazing. They play that live still, and I absolutely love it. So there's a lot of great stuff on here, and me ranking these albums does not mean anything, basically, because I love all of these albums. But this is going to come in at number 6 for me
as an A plus.
no, man, if I just gave everything an A plus, what a cop out that would be.
It's so funny.
But this is a B album for me. It's just a solid B. But number 6 of 9 is a B. I mean, that shows where I feel like every album that these guys release is just up to par of what I expect. I'm never really, I shouldn't say never, but I'm hardly ever let down when they put on an album, because it sounds like them. It's just something different by them. I just think they grow so much from here, and they become much better songwriters. But man, you cannot take away from the rawness of this, and just powerful. I mean, it still is. It's still very powerful. You can still just kind of feel what they're feeling at the time. But I'm glad you love this album so much. For me, it's 6th best and a B. So that's where I'm at with Adrenaline.
All right.
Wait, what's on that cover? Is that like a baby suction?
That's called an ear syringe. That's to remove like earwax.
Yeah,
like
that's what I thought.
Fill it with warm water in the sink, and you flush your ears out with it.
For the longest time, I thought it was like a seashell, but I guess I never really looked at it clearly, because obviously you can see now it's one of those baby syringes. But
yeah,
I was just curious. But
it's for adults too. But, I mean,
right, I get it.
It's and they work really well, actually. So I have one upstairs in the closet. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and that's kind of where I was going with the kind of their later stuff. And I mean, that's kind of where they start to lose me, though, because this Frank Delgado, like he's an unnamed part of the band, but there's no samples on this album on Adrenaline. There's no samples. There's no turntables. There's no atmospheric keyboard stuff. There's none of that stuff. And there's a ton of that stuff later. Yeah. And you don't need it. They don't need it at all. And it really detracts from what they do for me. And it pisses me off because they don't need that stuff. And that's what they became. I'm just saying. That's
all right.
That's what they became.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
That's why I have so much trouble with them later on. And there's times, like you talk about Chino with melody, dude. There are times where that dude is singing a different song over top of what the rest of the band is doing. He is just out on his own. There's whole albums like that. And I don't know what you're talking about with him, he has better melody. I'm like, really? Like, at least in this album, it's along with the music, whether he's rapping or syncopated with whatever, he does still kind of the same stuff. There's songs where he just screams the whole time later too. He does a lot of that too. And he does a lot of the whisper thing, and he does like he sounds like him throughout. Like maybe he sings a little bit more later, but he sounds the same throughout. But there are times, many times on albums later, where he just goes off over top of. I have examples of songs too where he just goes off over top of music, and I'm like, is he even listening to the same song that I am? Is he listening to the same instruments? Because I don't know what he's doing. So I don't know.
But you don't like it, I like it. So
well, there you go.
There we go.
Agree to disagree on a lot of this stuff. Then Around the Fur, I knew, and I knew it too. Around the Fur is the second album. This was October 28th, 1997. So we are almost exactly 2 years and a month later. 10 songs. This is Terry Date again in band. No Ross Robinson this time. This one I like a lot also. This still, now there's a little bit more stuff on here. This is kind of where the Frank Delgado stuff kind of started. Like he wasn't really an official part of the band yet, but there is some extra stuff on here, but it's not a lot. So this one is also, this is where I'm going to mention, this is one of the best live shows. This is a top 10 live show that I've ever seen. This was at the Odeon in Cleveland down in the flats. It was them for Around the Fur, and Limp Bizkit opened this show for them. So I saw Limp Bizkit for $3 Bill Y'all, which is, it wasn't the height of Limp Bizkit's popularity, but it's probably where I like them the most, because again, they were doing something at that time that nobody had done before. Nobody sounded like that, and I loved the album. Like I listened, I just wrecked that album. I listened to it so much, that $3 Bill Y'all. I got it signed that day by Limp Bizkit at a record store in Lakewood the day of the show, and then saw them later. Like if you have the $3 Bill Y'all, it's got a big open up thing in the CD, and it's got all 5 members like kind of sitting at a table, and they were all sitting at a table and they all signed it. So it's one of my possessions that I have of signed things that I will never forget. And that show that night, I got to stand like one person back from the stage, like in front of the pit. I love Around the Fur. I love Adrenaline even more. They played 7 songs from both of those albums. Limp Bizkit played 7 songs. Like they only have, I think, 7 songs on their first album. They played 6 out of the 7 of those. It was just awesome. Just an awesome, awesome show that I'll never forget. So this is definitely a fuller sounding album. They definitely spent more time recording this. You can tell they did a little more fleshing out of songs, I think, like they said they didn't do on the first album. But it still has a lot of the same sound and same kind of riff style and singing style as the first album does, which is why I like it so much. I still love them on this album. So it's kind of downhill from here mostly for me. Now it's kind of slow. Like I don't hate a lot of the rest of their stuff. I don't think I have anything in the D range by them, but there is some stuff later that I'm like, I just don't know what they're doing. You know, like they kind of lost me as to the band that they were at one point. So, and I don't expect the band to stay that way forever. It's just I didn't like the direction that they went in some cases. In some cases, it works really well for them. But there is, like you said, he does a lot of whining later, and there's just, I don't know, that it's just Chino. I had mentioned earlier, I couldn't really put my finger on what it was that I didn't like later that I like about this band at first. And it comes down to, it's 2 things. Minorly, it's kind of the atmospheric keyboard stuff, because I think they way overdid that. But the other thing is Chino. And when he's on the song and what he's doing fits with the song, they're great. I like everything that they do. Keyboards or not, atmosphere or not, when he's with the band and they're kind of doing something that sounds cohesive. But there's many times where he does things where he's just kind of off doing his own thing. And I'll admit, maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I'm not musically smart enough to understand what he's doing, but it sounds like he's doing something completely different than the band's doing. But that didn't happen here at all. All of these songs, they all fit. Like everything that he does fits. I like some more than others. Just like, there's lots of songs that you may like that, people love or whatever, but you're like, I don't like it as much, but you can't deny that it's a good song, like none of these I would say are bad songs. So there's really nothing here for me to skip, but there's just stuff I don't like as much as I liked everything on the first album. The first album, the lyrics, as you said, I'll give you that. They're kind of cringe in a way. But I've never been a lyric guy. I'll say that forever. I'll say that to where people don't ever want to hear me say it again. I'm just not a lyric guy. I know that was of a time. I know that he says words that people don't say now, but it was 30 years ago. That happened a lot on a lot of albums by a lot of people. And a lot of people that think Walk on Water now, like it's just of a time when that was an acceptable thing. It was never right
Right.
but it was accepted at the time. And it's not a good thing. Not at all. But what are you going to go back and censor all that stuff out? Like it's when
No,
books were
of course
written
not.
back in the 60s or 70s and they have words in them that shouldn't be there. You're not going to go back and rewrite those. They are what they are,
Sure. Yeah.
So, but I get it. You know, if especially if you're into lyrics more, there's kind of a lot of dumb stuff in there, but it all fits so well with the music. That's why I liked it so much, and that's why I like this one a lot. My favorites are Labia. Um, My Own Summer, I love a lot too. Around the Fur is one of my favorite songs. Be Quiet and Drive, I like a lot. It was a huge hit for them. But probably my favorite song on here is with Max Cavalera, written about, I believe, his sister, Max Cavalera's sister, who passed away, and it's called Head Up. And it's a song that they do quite a lot live still, and it's a banger of a song, man. It has an unbelievably angry guitar riff in it. It's almost rap, in a way, but it's a great song, and it's probably my favorite one on here. It's the second to last song. There's no skippers on here. This is an A- for me. This is number 2. I really like this one a lot. Also, it's just not quite as much as Adrenaline. And like I said, it's all kind of slowly downhill from here for me, although there's a couple upticks here and there, but nothing really comes close to these two albums. And it's just for me. So I won't talk as much about those albums as I know you will. So this is my grand opus here about Deftones. It's these two albums. But yeah, I love this one too, and those are the top 2 for me. What did you think of Around the Fur?
Around the Fur is a step up for me for sure. The production was better. I think Chino sounds better. I like the groove that he gets into with a lot of these songs. You finally you gonna get your first. I get a little bit more atmosphere-ish type stuff with the Be Quiet and Drive. Good stuff. I really like this album. Again, when it first came out, it was my new favorite album after Adrenaline. So again, I was in with these guys like as they released stuff, and this was really good. Again, it was just an improvement. It was what Adrenaline did, and it in my mind improved in every single way. I felt like this band is on the upward trend, and just really love this stuff. My Own Summer, as Brian and my partner Mr. H said, phenomenal song, a classic riff. Again, one of those. He starts the riff, you know exactly what it is, you know who it is. It takes you back.
Kind of where Chino really started singing a little bit too.
Yep. Yep.
With some some vocal chops rather than the kind of sonic stuff he was doing before. But it was singing, but it wasn't not like what he was doing on here. So
sure. Yeah, no, this definitely he's growing as a musician, I feel like. And again, he still kind of does some rapping here and there.
Yeah.
A lot more on this album too, but I feel like as we go, he's separating himself a little bit more from the rap genre that was, I guess you could say is more of the new metal type thing early on. I think they did it as well as anybody, the quote unquote new metal stuff early on. All the like Korn, in which Korn are innovators and they deserve everything that they got. But, Deftones is another one of those bands.
Yeah, it's another one I almost have a hard time putting into new metal, though, because it doesn't sound like all of those.
No, it doesn't. It's its own like
bands.
version.
Like they have their own sound, right?
It's their own version of it.
They're the Deftones, right? Like I actually like the term alternative metal for them than new metal, because new metal puts them in a category with all those Flyleafs and Hinders and like all those bands that just kind of sound the same. They don't sound like that at all. And neither does Korn for that matter. Like you can almost say they kind of invented. I mean, Korn, the first song came out in 94, right? And this came out in 95. So, I mean, they were kind of right there together, but they just have their own distinct things that nobody was able to copy or duplicate,
Yep.
So,
yeah, but they quickly, I mean, you might have had an argument for that first record of it being a new metal type thing, but going past that, I don't think anybody would have an argument anymore.
Yeah, there's definitely moments on there where you could say like, especially with the rap metal thing. But again, is the rap metal thing, is that new metal? Or is that its own thing too?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like too much stuff gets lumped into new metal.
Yeah.
Because it was heavy music that was new at the time. So therefore it's new metal. Well, not really.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't sound like Limp Bizkit doesn't sound like them. Like, yeah, I saw them together, but there's very few similarities there. It's not like Chino raps the whole time. Like Fred Durst is straight up rapping the
Yeah.
entire time they're doing this, right? And that fits with what he does and what they do. Chino does it sometimes, and then other times he's doing other things. So
Yep.
I don't know. It's just that's a whole new metal. We could do a whole show just on new metal and try to define it. I don't think you can define it, but
Not
I just
especially
feel
not
like
these
it's
days.
kind of people lump them in. Not you, but just people in
Yeah.
general. Kind of, that's that new metal stuff. Well, yeah, if you listen to this stuff, it's really not. It sounds nothing like a lot of those other bands do.
Yeah, we get a little hindsight is 2020.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Obviously we look at it way differently now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my
I'm not sure a lot of people do, though.
Yeah.
We do. We
Yeah.
look at it, but if they didn't live through it, they just kind of lump it all together. You know what I mean?
Sure. Title track, Around the Fur, awesome.
Yeah.
Love the drum beat at the beginning is just awesome.
Dude, Abe Cunningham is such an underrated
Oh,
drummer,
yeah.
man. Oh, my God.
He's awesome.
On Adrenaline, too. Like, he sparkles, man. It's just, I mean, Stephen Carpenter writes riffs like nobody else. Nobody sounds like Abe Cunningham either. That guy is ridiculous. Ridiculously good. Just playing complex stuff in a simple song,
Yeah. Well, like you said, they all had to be who they are for the Deftones to sound like the Deftones, and they are. Be Quiet and Drive. When I heard that, it kind of just blew me away. That's the one song I would say off here that I'm just like, yeah, I don't need to hear that anymore, especially live. Like, I'm good with that. I've heard that so many times, but it's a killer song.
I love it. That's one of those you roll the windows down and make it as loud as it can go, and like the summer night driving somewhere. Like, it's one of those songs that kind of takes me to a specific time of day, season, place thing. It's just such a great summertime song, like heavy song, but it's kind of mellow at the same time, Oh, man.
Good stuff. Lotion, awesome. You mentioned Head Up, great song.
Oh, God.
But yeah, this is a great album for me. Obviously, they're all really, really good to me. Again, this is a step up from Adrenaline. This is not an A plus. Again, A plus in the I'll give everything an A plus if I could do that. This is a B plus for me. Number 4, Around the Fur. Again, just an improvement, but unlike you, I do not think they went downhill from here. I think from here, they became masterful songwriters and improved in every way. So we will definitely be splitting from here. But Around the Fur, number 4, B plus.
All right, on to White Pony, June 20th, 2000. So we're almost 3 years later. 11 songs. This is Terry Date again in band. I wrote in my notes here while I was listening to this. This is where they started to lose me and apparently gain everyone else.
Yep.
So this is where the bandwagon starts to really get overflowing, and I kind of squeezed off, and just kind of stood and watched from the side there, waiting for them to throw the candy, probably because I'm a fat guy. So there's just too much dull, quiet whininess, atmospheric experimentation. I mean, there's only kind of glimpses of what the band was previously on here, because it just sounds different. Like, does it still sound like the Deftones? Yes, but this is completely different songwriting, like you said, than what they were doing before. I still love a lot of Abe Cunningham's drumming on here. I had a specific example here. The beginning of Digital Bath, it sounds great, and he's so underrated as a drummer, as I said. My favorites on this one, I do have some favorite songs. I don't hate this album. I don't want it to sound like I hate this album. I'm just saying that these things that they kind of started to do here are kind of what pushes me away and keeps me from having these albums be in the A range. But I have a bunch of these in the B range. This is where I had real problems ranking this one, the next one, 3 other ones. Like, I have them all rated the same, and I had a really hard time trying to rank them 1 through 9. So my favorite ones here are Fetisira, Digital Bath, Korea, Passenger with Maynard from Tool is an awesome song, and Change in the House of Flies is an absolute great song. Couple skippers for me though. I did not like Elite, and I don't like Teenager. Didn't really like either of those. Again, I don't hate this album. There's still moments and songs that I really like. It's just kind of a fall off for me from the first two. But you go ahead and give it your A plus and make it your number whatever.
You're welcome.
What did you think of White Pony?
You can't really see with my background.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
It's probably just as well.
Anyway, I got a box set.
Has it got a white pony on it?
It has a white pony on it. It's actually
I'll spoil it for you. It's got a white pony on it.
It does. Anyway, I bought the vinyl box set. It's got like dual remixes and stuff, and it's got the true version of this album without the garbage back to school mini maggot at the front.
Yeah.
That's absolute trash. I know they don't like it either because it was kind of shoved in after the original was released. It's trash.
It's trash. I didn't even put it as a skipper because I know that's not really
count.
It doesn't count. It's garbage.
But yes, everything that you said, it pushes you away, has pulled me in,
sucks you in
100-fold. I love the atmosphere. I love the stuff that Delgado brings here. He's now officially a member of the band, and going forward, he is with the band.
Yep. He's
the game changer and the game ender for the classic fans like Mr. H. Game changer for a guy like me. I just absolutely loved this album when it came out. Probably one of the albums I've played the most in my life. It's emotional to me. It's just a lot of feels listening to it. And I give that to that feeling that this new band has basically taken on. A lot of the riffs are the same. The drumming is the same, like you've mentioned. I mean, Carpenter and Cunningham are masters, and they do it all the way through from the beginning to end. Brian's with you, Mr. H. There you go. You guys have no sense of music, so just kidding. I love both you guys. White Pony is a masterpiece in every single way. There's no skippers for me. Everything is wonderful. Everything is beautiful. It's got ebbs and flows. When it's heavy, it's fierce. When it's melodic, I hear your grunts. Fierce. I didn't grunt for you for adrenaline. Fierce. I didn't. It's awesome. Man. And again, most people agree with me. So you guys are the ones that aren't quite.
You guys are the idiots.
I didn't say that. Yeah, that was your words. But this, if you look, no, but if you look at anybody else's rankings, everybody's going to have this probably top 2 or 3.
I have it at number 3.
Okay, I missed that. So 3's good. Okay,
I don't know if I said it actually.
I don't think
it was a B because I have a lot of others at B.
Yeah, you didn't rank it.
Sorry, I did rank this number.
That's why. Okay. Apologies.
So I have it in my top 3. So there.
Okay.
How about you, Brian S? Do you have this in your top 3?
Brian probably didn't listen to anything after this.
He probably just stopped.
He's probably like, I'm good now. I'm good after this.
He didn't even wait for the candy in the parade. He just left. He's like, I'm out of here.
Right. But it just, again, just a lot of different things about this album, but I love it. Passenger is probably a top 3 Deftones song for me. Maynard, just both of them together, it just works.
It does. I wish there was more songs like that.
I do too. I love all of this. It's just, I could gush over it. But this is obviously, like you said, this is my number 1 and an A+, a masterpiece. Not very many albums have meant to me what this does. Still to this day, it still sounds fantastic. The production is still over the top good. Everything about this sounds good.
It does sound great. I'll give you that.
But just putting on some headphones with my vinyl records, oh my God, just melt in it. That just could gush over it. White Pony is just top of the heap for me. So I'll move on.
Fair enough.
I'll let you go to the next one, but White Pony is an A+ and number 1 for me. It's a classic.
A+++. Yep. You're right. Yeah, I'm sure most people would agree with you. I do have it in my top 3, but I do not have it even close to number
Fair.
1 or 2.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
But it kind of dropped to a level where I have a lot of these, so for
Sure.
different reasons. On to June 20th, 2003. I did go see the White Pony show at
The White Pony Show.
the White Pony Show. I went to the pony show, the donkey show
Oh, stop.
at at the
You went
Agora
there.
when they headlined the Agora. So I mean, I still wanted to see them all the time, and like I said, I don't hate that album, and I did go see them a bunch of times for the next 2 also. So they released self-titled Deftones, 11 songs in June 20th, 2003. Terry Date, again, this is his last album with the band until Ohms in 2020, except for another album that never got released that we'll talk about in a little bit. Terry Date was very unhappy at their very slow pace in recording, and this is where I can see them going, because they're adding so much stuff. Donkey Show.
Stop.
Please tell me more. So stop. Gave him the big X. This is, I could totally see them going to this place because they're adding so much other stuff that it's got to make it, again, my tiny music brain here, but it's got to make it difficult to fit all these pieces together when you're adding all these different layers of things, and it's got to take a long time to record. And I don't feel like you're probably going to have a hard time feeling like you got it just right. Maybe a little bit more of this. No, maybe a little less of that. Like, there's so many things going on. I can totally see how this could definitely be a long recording process. So this is an even bigger change in musical style and experimenting for them. They throw a bunch of that into this one. They kind of felt it out on the last couple albums, a little bit on Around the Ferd, more so on White Pony, and even more so on this one. This album was originally titled Lovers, but Chino didn't like the title as that was too obvious in relation to the context of the material. So apparently there's a lot of love songs on here by Chino, and he didn't want it to be called Lovers. So I'm good with that, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of weird to have a self-titled album later in your career, but we've seen a lot of bands do that. So it's kind of
it's only one.
surprising. Right. Yeah, exactly. This is only one and not 3 like some bands.
Right.
But, so my favorites on here, there's still some really good songs on here for sure. I really like Needles and Pins a lot. I like Minerva. I like Battle Axe a lot. And just earlier today, I added Death Below because I went back and listened to some of these albums again because they were so tied with other ones ranking wise. I'm like, where do I really want to rank this? Is it really better than this other one? Is the other one better than this one? So I had to go back and listen to some stuff. And as I was listening to this one, I'm like, you know what? I really kind of like this Death Below song. So I added it to my favorites on this album. So I do have, though, a couple, 3 skippers on here. When Girls Telephone Boys is complete garbage. It's basically Chino's just yelling the whole time. I didn't like that one. I didn't like Lucky You at all with Ray Osborne, who I'm not sure who that is. I'd probably click on him and find out, but I don't really like the song, so I don't want to know. And I didn't like Anniversary of an Uninteresting Event. It's a very uninteresting song to me. So I have this rated as a B. This is a little bit better high moments. There's a little bit better high moments on White Pony for me, but more songs on this album I thought that kind of rocked a little heavier. So I have this one just slightly below that one because White Pony has the better individual songs, where there's ones on here I really like, but that one, the ones I really liked, I liked more than this one. So that was the only thing that divided me between these two. But this album and another one is where I really had a hard time ranking them. But this one I have number 4 as a B. What did you think of the self-titled Deftones?
So this, to me, this is kind of their down time. This one and the next one. I guess the staying power of this one and the next one isn't as good for me. I don't go back to this as much. There are some really good songs on here. When I listened to it this week multiple times, I felt good about listening to it. I picked out some good songs, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, of these 9 albums, this is probably going to be in the top or bottom couple that I would come back to.
Wow.
I love a few of the songs that you said. I mean, these are the highlights. I like
Yeah.
Hexagram, but Needles and Pins and Minerva are the highlights of this album. Death Blow, really, really good. Battle Axe, Bloody Cape.
I like
Basically all the
Battle
ones-
Axe probably more than all
Yes.
of them. I really like Battle Axe.
There's
I don't know
some-
why, but hearing it again today, I'm like, wow, I really like this
Yeah.
song. Like, it's
Yeah,
something about that one I really like. I could kind of see how this would be an easy kind of tumble for you too, coming off a White Pony.
Yeah,
too. 'Cause
and
if
that's
you're listening to
part of
those,
it.
especially in order, and how much you love that one,
Yeah.
this one's nowhere near as good as that.
Yeah.
As far as like what you are
Yes.
saying you like about the
Yeah.
Deftones.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of got in their own way a little bit, where
Yeah.
they went a little off kilter because of the success of White Pony,
Yeah.
where they're like, man, I'm just going to keep on doing
add
more drugs and getting
Yeah.
a little further off the reservation here.
Yeah,
And I think these next two kind of are like, okay.
Yeah, I think they went
I-
even further on the next
Yeah.
one, honestly.
They 100% did. This one though is, again, it's very good. The highs are very high. But the staying power to me is the difference. Like, I don't want to go back to this one as much. Just a few songs. It's a B for me. Most of these are, all of them but one are in the B range, just A or B range. Only one falls outside of that for me. So this is a B record, but it falls all the way to number 7. Just again, when I listened to all these, I looked back and said, which ones do I come back to the most? And I kind of ordered them that way because I feel so strongly about most of these albums. Again, highs are really high, but it just the quality of some of these other songs you mentioned, When Girls Telephone Boys, like I just can't hardly listen to that. It's very similar to like where you said Elite in White Pony, but for me, Elite hits a little bit better. I feel like there's more going on in that song than this one. It's almost like they tried to go this route again, and it didn't work this time. Moana, didn't that Disney come out with that later on?
I thought the same thing. I'm like, is this like a theme song? Is this going to sound like? It doesn't sound like that.
Yeah, but also, like I said, that it's a good album. Like it sounds good. The production's good. I just think they got a little bit too experimental, and they just kept going after this. So you're going to get into the next one here, but Deftones' self-titled album is number 7 for me in a B ranking.
Okay. Well, we have it ranked exactly the same. So
yeah,
not number wise, but
right.
Both have it as a B. All right. So on to Saturday Night Wrist. So we got another 3 years here, 12 songs. They're going to start to stretch their legs out here as far as how often these albums come out. But this was 3 years plus 3 years and almost 3.5. This was Bob Ezrin produced, which I thought was interesting. This is the first without producer Terry Dade. His earlier contributions for this album were scrapped. So I don't know exactly what happened between them. I know there were some frustrations with their slow pace and recording and all that, but I feel like something must have happened because they were working with him on this album and then scrapped the stuff that he was working on. And I couldn't find anywhere easily why that happened. So, but yeah, I thought that was kind of strange because, that's where they were doing their best stuff, so it's kind of weird that they just scrapped it, but who knows? This is Bob Ezrin now. This took about 2 years to record and really strained some relationships. Chino was in a bad place with a divorce and with some drug addiction problems. And he also says that this is his least favorite album. I can see why, because it's near the bottom for me too. But fans and critics apparently love this album. That's all I read was how much critics and fans love this album, and I don't know why. This is Chai Ching's last with the band. He got in a terrible car accident 2 years after this album came out. He never really recovered. He ended up passing away in 2013, but he was in a coma for a long time. They thought about breaking up. It was a terrible time for them. But that happened not long after this album was recorded and the tour went on for this. My favorites on here are Hole in the Earth is pretty good, I guess, and Cherry Waves is decent. But other than that, I really don't like much of the rest of this album. Skippers are definitely like the cheat code instrumental, which is up, down, left, right, A, start, select, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't
The
know if it's
Contra
for
code.
Madden or Contra, whatever the hell it's for. Cheat
Yeah.
code instrumental. I just put cheat code. And then Rats is garbage. And Pink Cell Phone I thought was terrible too. So there's some really bad songs on this one. Um, I don't know. Annie Hardy is on Pink Cell Phone. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the
who
girl that
is.
rambles obscenities for 3-4 minutes.
But
on that song.
where's she from? Like, I don't know who that is exactly, I guess. But
she's in a indie band called Giant Drag.
Okay, yes, I've never heard of
which
him.
I've never heard of either.
Surge Tankian from System of a Down is on Mine. Main.
It's
number
like,
5,
like chicken chow mein.
Chow mein. So yeah, Surge is on that song, but I don't like that one either. So I don't have that as a skipper, but I didn't love it either. So I have this as a C. This is number 8. This is the second worst album for me of the bunch. There's some weird stuff on here, and the songs just aren't very memorable. And even the okay ones are just okay. There's just nothing that really kind of stands out. Like I said, even the two that I mentioned that I liked were pretty good and decent, or the words I described of those two songs. So nothing on here I really love. I don't listen to this one much, and that'll probably continue. What did you think of Saturday Night Wrist? Where did the title come from anyway? Saturday Wrist. What?
I don't know.
Like wrist?
Yeah, this is a low. This is a low for me. When this came out, I didn't like it, and today I still don't like it. I have grown to like some of it, which has really helped with this listen, because I've actually listened to this a lot because I was just trying to find it. Like, I was trying to find what was going on here, because every other one of their albums I like a lot. Every single one, every 8 album other than this, I really think is outstanding.
Wow.
So even your 9, I like a lot.
Oh, that's one worse than this, man.
Well,
my goodness.
I kind of am ready to defend that, because I know what album it's going to be, and I think a lot of people are missing it on that.
Okay.
But again, it's what you hear and what you like, and this is not one that I really like. So this is the only one that fell out of the B range for me. This one is a C plus. So exactly, I think where you have, or I think you had it C plus too, right? Is that what you said? C. Yeah, C. Okay. So I have it C plus. I think the front of the album is pretty good. I think Hole in the Earth is really, really good. Cherry Waves is really good. I really come back to that song a lot. Rapture is pretty good. I like the song Kim Dracula on the second half as well. But there's a lot of stuff there that you mentioned.
I tried to like that one. Not a terrible song. I didn't have it as a skipper. I tried to like that one. I was like, do I really like this song? Like, I was kind of waffled back and forth. I'm like, I'm just not going to put it in either category, but it's not a bad song.
Pink Cell Phone, it starts off okay, but like I said, when you said it has this girl talking and just talking obscenities, it's just really weird, like with weird music going on in the background. It's an odd song for sure. It's just not a strong album. To me, it's clearly, in my opinion, their least album that I would ever come back to as much. It doesn't have any catchy moments, really, that I'm like, that earworm me. Every other one of their albums has at least a handful of songs that earworm me, where I go back. I have the song in my head for a long time, and I go back to it. But nothing on Saturday Night Wrist. Number 9, like I said, this is an easy number 9 for me. I could write this one down right from the beginning. I knew this was my least favorite, and C plus. And like I said, only a C plus. I probably would have given it a D prior to this listen, but I did find some moments I at least were like, okay, I could see where they were going with a few of these songs. But man, thank God they got over whatever with writing. And again, I know a lot of it was tragedy. I know a lot of it was a tough time for them. But musically, their careers at this point I wasn't expecting a lot more from Deftones at this point, and I was pleasantly surprised after this. So Saturday Night Wrist, number 9 and a C plus.
All right. On to Diamond Eyes. This is the one with the owl on the cover. Oh, it's right there in a picture below, in between us there.
Yep.
This came out May 4th, 2010, so almost 4 years. This is, like I said, I guess the next album is pretty soon after, but then they really stretched things out. But Diamond Eyes came out May 4th, 2010, 11 songs. This is our old buddy Nick Raskulinecz.
Yep.
He's done a lot of stuff that we've listened to and liked over our podcast here. Here he shows up again. Originally, this album was supposed to be Eros with Terry Date, which we mentioned that he hadn't done anything with them until Ohms, but he did record an album with them called Eros. It was to be the sixth album. It got put on hold when Chai got into his accident, resulting in him being comatose. And this album still hasn't been released to this day. They moved on with Sergio Vega on bass and recorded Diamond Eyes instead. That album was supposed to be kind of dark and angry. I would love to hear where the direction of that was going, but it sounds like we probably will never hear it since it's been 20 years almost now and it still hasn't been released. But it's around. You just can't hear any of it. So they wanted to go in a different direction. They wanted to make a more optimistic record versus the dark and angry that Eros was. So they recorded Diamond Eyes. They avoided the use of Pro Tools and writing together as a band and practicing a lot until the songs were perfect, which thank God, because that's, the Pro Tools thing. Like, I feel like that's how they got into the Saturday Night Wrist territory and, some of the other territory where it's just, man, like, how much extra stuff do you need to put in a song, So they were just it was going too far. So I'm glad that they got away from that. More critical acclaim from critics and fans on this one. I like this one more than I like Saturday Night Wrist for sure. My favorites on this one are Diamond Eyes is the title track. Rocket Skates I added today. It's another song that I'm like, do I really like this song? As I was going back and trying to decipher between which of these albums I like more. And I decided, you know what, I do like this song, so I put it in my list. And I like Risk a lot too. The only skipper on here for me is a very popular song of theirs called Sex Tape. I don't like Sex Tape. It kind of drones on, but it's not terrible. It's kind of a borderline skipper for me, but if there was going to be one skipper for me, it's that one on here. It's just, I don't know. It's 402, I think.
402, yeah.
I don't know what it is about it. It kind of feels like it just repeats a lot of the same thing. And I don't know. I don't really like it, but it isn't terrible. So I have this album as a B minus. This is 6. This is one I switched with another one later on. It's all pretty listenable. There's just not much in the way of hooks or melody for me in here that kind of makes it memorable. There's not a lot of that here outside of a couple of songs for me. Like when I went back and listened to this again, like I recognize Diamond Eyes, I recognize Risk, and I'm listening to it. I'm not really watching what songs are playing. I'm like, I like this one. That's right. I liked it. Which one was this? I'm like, yep, that's the one I put down. And then when Risk played, I'm like, I really like this one too. And I looked, I'm like, yep. So, they kind of had lost me to the point where I didn't listen to these a lot when they came out. I gave all of them a listen. I have all of these albums. I think there's only one of these I don't have, and I think it's Ohms is the only one I don't have that I don't own. So I bought all these, and I've listened to them all to different degrees, but there just wasn't anything there for me. I was kept going back, and I'm hoping for some songs like We're Even on White Pony or some stuff from like Around the Fur, some stuff that sounded like that. And when I don't hear it, I just kind of don't really come back to it much. So, but there are some songs on here that do kind of hook me, but the other ones just don't. So this one I have is as a number 6. It's a B minus. It's all pretty listenable. Like I said, it sounds like the Deftones. It's a little more uplifting. It's not so dark. It's kind of optimistic, which is good. And I just wish the songs were a little better. So I do like the fact that they kind of got away from the Pro Tools and just wrote together and practice a lot. Kind of makes the song sound better live too, I think, where you don't have all that extra crap going on. You don't have different levels of atmosphere and keyboards and stuff, samples to to get just right. Like you just go out and just do your thing as a band and it sounds good, because you've done it a million times. So anyway, what did you think of Diamond Eyes?
So I was late to the party with Diamond Eyes. I was
Because of
just
wrist?
because of wrist. I
Yeah,
was really down on these guys.
I can see that.
It wasn't until I started like reading a bunch of people just giving this album praise, saying, they're back. They're finally this, they're finally that. A lot of different publications gave it like album of the year that year. It made me like, okay, maybe I'm unfairly avoiding this. And I was. I love Diamond Eyes. I think it's behind White Pony. I think it's the best direction for them, for me, in showing growth, because they weren't getting weirder. They were getting a little closer, in my opinion, to merging everything that they've done the best and figuring out how to put it all together. Now, it might not be, as good to me as White Pony, and it may not be as good as old school stuff to the old school fans, but I feel like Diamond Eyes is the point where Chino and the guys ultimately figured out what was the optimal version of 2010 for the Deftones. And it worked for me. Again, I didn't jump on it right away, and I'm disappointed I didn't. But once I started listening to this album, I listened to it a lot. I listened to it nonstop. I honestly feel like, Mr. H, if you listen to this album more and more, you would come to love this album. And I think because, you just have listened to it maybe a little bit when it first came out and a little bit now, you're finding new songs that you like now.
Yeah,
I
I
bet
could
you.
say you've seen The Butcher, like
Yeah.
that song, like it almost made my favorites list. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like listening to it the second or third time this week, I was like, this song's not too bad. Like this is pretty good. So, but
Yeah.
there's still some that I don't
Yeah.
know
No,
that
that's
I'll ever
fair.
get,
No, that's fair.
But
No, I
that
get it.
there are moments in here where I'm like, maybe I do like this song more than I thought I did. So
Yeah.
you might be right.
But I'm just kind of going with my own experience where,
Yeah.
I listen to this and then I listen to it and then I listen to it, and I love it. Again, it just, to me, it's one of my favorites, and I come back to this all the time. Obviously, I come back the most to White Pony. This is the next one that I come back to the second most. I love these songs. Diamond Eyes is phenomenal. I love Royal. I love You Seen the Butcher. I love Rocket Skates. I do like Sex Tape. I like that the droning, the atmosphere. It makes sense though. That's what you said is not your favorite
Yeah.
thing that they
Yeah.
do. That they're totally owning that for this.
And I get why
Yeah.
that's a popular song.
Yeah.
Just like I don't get why people love Radiohead.
Sure.
Not to compare the music, but
Yeah.
people love them. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I can't stand them, but it's
Yeah.
just not my thing. And I
Sure.
can recognize that. I can totally see why that's one of their more popular, more played songs on Spotify, because
Yep.
I just get it. Like I don't
Yeah.
think it's terrible. It's just not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Like you said, Risk, phenomenal. I
Oh,
love the closer. This Place Is Death. This album, to me, like I said, it's grown and it's continued to grow.
976 Evil's not that bad. I was going
No,
into it like,
yeah.
oh, this is going to be dumb. It's really not that bad.
No, it's, again, no skippers for me. This is a phenomenal album. Just, it doesn't quite live up to White Pony. Nothing probably ever will. But Diamond Eyes is number 2 for me, and it's an A album. I listen to it all the time, and it really, I guess, in the underrated albums, like a victory for me, that something that I just blew off, that I was like, they're done. They can't be this good anymore. And the more I gave this album and dug into it, it has stuck with me ever since, and probably one of my favorite albums, especially in the last 10, 15 years. It just, not a lot of stuff that my favorite bands are doing that I just keep coming back to. I mean, there's a few bands, like we talk about Kill Switch, bands like that, where I always come back to stuff like Trivium, whatever else. But this is the best, like, current version of Deftones to me, like a more mature version of Chino and the Deftones. So Diamond Eyes, number 2, A for me.
All right. So on to we got a little bit over 2.5 years later, Koi no Yokan. November 12th, 2012. I meant to look up what that meant, and I never did.
It's premonition of love.
Okay. Hey, another Lovers album. So you didn't want to call this one Lovers either. So you called it Koi no Yokan instead.
Yep.
11 songs. Came out 11, 12, 12, and had 11 songs. A lot of 11s and 12s there. Nick Raskulinecz again. Kind of a major change for them in the recording process. They used more digital tools that kind of replicate where there's a lot of this that happens these days. People that I know that record in today's day and age use a lot of this stuff. A lot of people that play guitar use these replicators where they replicate different effects pedals or different amps or even different heads. And you can play through a 5150 head on a Marshall amp with a certain effects pedal, and there are these replicators that can make that sound come out like you're playing guitar, and you don't have to have all that stuff. It just makes it sound like you do. So this, I think, was kind of the beginning of that, even though this was like 13 years ago. But I'm sure a lot of people, regular people, you, me, people I know that try to record stuff these days. My buddy Tyler, who hasn't been around in a little while, like he uses stuff like this. He talks about it all the time. That it's affordable now, but back then it probably wasn't. So, but the cool thing for them is they were able to record stuff like in hotel rooms, like so they don't have to have their head and their cabinet and all their effects pedals. Like they plug into this thing, and it can replicate these sounds for them, and they can record stuff kind of when it happens for them in a hotel room or wherever they are, rather than only I wrote this riff, but I got to hear what it sounds like through my amp in my head and everything before I really know if that's really what I like. Well, now I can just play it and I'm like, what is this going to sound like now? Oh, this sounds great, and I can actually record it really quick. So we use a lot of this stuff. So Chino called this album dynamic. I don't really have much else written about this other than it was acclaimed by fans and critics again, but I actually like this album. I thought, kind of reading that stuff, you wouldn't think that I would, but it's not samples. It's not atmospheric stuff. This is just a way to replicate the guitar sound that he's looking for already, right? So stuff that he already has, it doesn't sound any different. And Stephen Carpenter doesn't sound any different on this album. It's just the way that he wrote it or recorded it was a little different, but it still sounds like him totally. So I like this a lot. I like Swerve City. I like Graphic Nature. I like Tempest. These, again, were songs I listened to multiple times. And I was like, man, I really like these songs. And there's no skippers on this album for me. Now, I don't love the whole thing, but there are no skippers on here. There's not a song on here that I'm like, boy, I really don't like this one. None. So I have this rated as a B. I have this number 5. This is right in the middle of their catalog for me. It's a pretty solid album. I really like a few, and the rest of the songs are at least decent to good. So it's more memorable than some of their albums for me. So I have this number 5 as a B. What did you think of Koi no Yokan?
Yeah, this was a momentum album for me. Actually, off of how much I love Diamond Eyes, this didn't stray that far off what they were doing. It was very straightforward, like you said. They didn't try to go somewhere different with the kind of success of Diamond Eyes. They just kind of kept the momentum going, in my opinion. It to me, it's not a double album, of course, like you said, a couple years apart, but I felt like they used the momentum, whatever they used from losing their buddy. I don't know if he had passed at this point yet.
2013, he hadn't yet.
Okay.
When they recorded this.
But they had to probably think at this point it was probably
that he wasn't coming back. They had to know. Yeah.
So again, I think they kind of used whatever momentum from Diamond Eyes into this, and these are fantastic songs. Just another album I just put on and I listen to, and it's just great stuff. I love Swerve City. I love Romantic Dreams and Leathers and the buildup of Tempest. Like you said, you talked
Tempest
about that.
Is really
one.
good. Yeah.
It's a 6-minute song that it builds up really nicely.
Good.
It doesn't feel like the 6 minutes. And Rosemary, another 6-minute song. I love that song too.
I almost put that on my list too. That one was kind of growing on me too. I'm like, do I really like this one that much? Like, I like it. I don't,
Yeah.
obviously I wouldn't skip it, but didn't quite make my favorites list, but it's pretty close.
So maybe this one is the album. If you listen to more, you might really find it climbing up your list. But yeah, it's it's a solid album. At this point, I was back in the Deftones business. I was like, these guys are putting out great stuff. Just that talking about earworms, that opening riff of Swerve City.
Yeah,
it just really sets the tone for this album. Really, really like this. Obviously, I have this also as an A-. Number 3, just again, is a momentum record. To me, it picks up right where Diamond Eyes leaves off. It's not quite as good for me as Diamond Eyes, but it's just like the next best thing.
Yeah,
so,
I like it a little bit more, but I have those pretty much together, and I totally see what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're like
they
brother
came
and
out pretty
sister.
close to each other, comparatively speaking. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, love these 2 albums a lot. It was just really kind of saved the band for me. Saturday Night Wrist was just like, all right, guys, just a little bit too far out there for me, but they pulled it back. And it seems like Chino got his life together. It seemed like the drugs and whatever, he moved on from his relationships and all that stuff, and just whatever happened with him, he seemed like he figured it out. And the band's solid as always. The drumming is great. The guitar riffs are fantastic. Just a great album.
All right, so having said all that, and they built me back up just to completely lose me on this album. Gore, oh man, April 8th, 2016, 11 songs. Matt Hyde, the producer in the band. Get Matt Hyde the hell out of here. I don't know what was going on here. This is described by Chino as a little more heavy than Koi no Yokan, with a lot of different moods. Not a happy or angry record. So basically a whole lot of nothing. And it's a whole lot of Chino kind of yelling over top of songs that I don't even know what he's talking about or what the lyrics mean, like, or what he's trying to say, and it doesn't fit with the music. I'm like, what songs is he listening to? This is as close to garbage as I would ever say is garbage from Deftones. Like, this is easily the bottom of my list. I had a tough time not putting this as a D. I don't have any favorites on here. All right, these are my thoughts as I went along. So there was lots of rumors of creative tension here between Chino and Stephen Carpenter, saying it was hard for him to get in the right frame of mind to write. And I can totally hear this on the entire album. It's not cohesive at all. This is described by critics as space rock, and also similar to the Saturday Night Wrist with more experimental and atmospheric sounds. I hear that too. There is very long intros on some of these songs that just lose me. And then the songs aren't good once they get going. In most cases, it's just kind of back to the experimental, no hooks, no melody stuff again. Acid Hologram just goes right into Doomed Loser without like missing a beat. Like, it's the same song and it just sounds the same. And it's like Chino, he's just yelling or / announcing over the top of some music that doesn't fit. And then he starts droning, and it fits sometimes, and then sometimes that doesn't fit either. So I'm like, all right, well, at least when he sings or drones a little bit, maybe that'll fit. And sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. But I have only 4 skippers on here out of 11 songs, but there's not much on here I really could find that I like. There's parts of songs, but not any whole songs. So I really didn't like Prayers Triangles. I did not like Acid Hologram. I didn't like Geometric Headdress. I didn't like Gore at all. That's probably the worst song on here for me. It's absolute garbage. Gore is. I have it as a C-, number 9, bottom of the bunch for sure. Not even close. It's all over the place. I can definitely tell who it is, but there's almost no melody or anything memorable about these songs. I'll never come back and listen to this again. I don't care if you put this as your 0.10 album. I will never listen to this album again. It's total garbage.
Okay.
What do you think of Gore?
I don't even want to. I don't even want to say now.
Yeah, you.
All right,
Okay.
9th album.
Tell me what you like about it, because I'd love to hear it. Right, I'd love to hear what you like about Gore. I don't know how you can fit this into any of these other categories that you've been talking about, because it's totally doesn't fit any of that stuff.
No, it's very different. I'm not gonna say it's not different. But I think about half the songs are really catchy to me. Earworms. Like I listen to this album and I sing these melodies all day. I don't know how you can listen to these songs and not hear melody. Like to me, that's
No melody at all. Almost all of these songs.
that. Like to me, that's
Oh my God.
I don't know what we're listening to the same.
I don't
I
know
ju-
what Chino's singing over top of. Like, it's not the music I was listening to. I mean, if you're talking guitar melodies, there's definitely some good guitar work in here. There's good instrumental work, but I don't know what Chino's doing most of the time here.
yeah.
Usually I get what he's doing. This one I don't. What is he doing?
Yeah, I don't know how to defend this when you're saying it's garbage. So I do hear catchy hooks and melodies in the singing. I sing to these choruses all the time. I think they're really, really good. Specifically the songs that you've called out. I think this is half really good and half really bad. But the half that I think is really good are ones that you don't like. So I don't understand how we're so different with this, why we're hearing something so different. I played the crap out of this album and really found a lot of really good, as catchy to me, singing choruses as they've had in the second half of their career. I think Prayers Triangles, Acid Hologram, and Doomed User have awesome vocal hooks. I think Hearts and Wires is a really good song, and I think to not like Phantom Bride is the reason why I don't know where you're coming from with this album. Phantom Bride is a great song. Even people that hate this album love Phantom Bride. And then you have a Jerry Cantrell solo in it, which is Phantom Bride is probably a top 5 Deftones song for me. It's absolutely phenomenal, killer song.
Maybe it's because it came after Gore, which is just hot, steaming garbage, man.
I
don't know. Maybe I was just out on it by song 10. I don't know. But
I don't know. But again, what I will say is that the songs I didn't just name, I kind of skipped through those. Geometric Headdress, Pittura Infamante, Xenon, like these are not good songs. Gore is not a good song. Rubicon I don't like. But it's like half really, really good and half really, really bad. So this is an album that definitely splits the fan base. I think a lot of people really like it and a lot of people really hate it. But to me, it's a mid-range album. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as Saturday Night Wrist at all. But I guess we will disagree here. Gore for me is a B off of its strong songs to me, and it's number 5.
Okie dokie. So, yeah, I don't get it. I bought this. I have it upstairs. I bought it. I listened to it. I was like, I don't know what this is. And I now listening to it 9 years later, I got the same feeling. It's not like I went into this album wanting to hate it. Like, I didn't even really remember what I didn't like about it because I just barely listened to it because I didn't like it apparently then either. And oh man, I found nothing. Nothing. So on to Ohms. So unfortunately, Gore released April 2016. So that was 9 years and 3 months ago today. They've only put one album out since then, and that was September 25th, 2020, with Ohms. As you sent to me today, it sounds like they're cryptically dropping another single, which just tell us, really. I mean, they're putting Roman numerals out there and like pictures of the band, and like it looks like a rehearsal space or a video of some kind, but it's just a picture of them with their instruments. So I don't know. Just tell us you're going to come out with a song, I guess. I don't know. But it's supposed to happen in 2 days. So apparently people have been waiting for almost 5 years for this. So Ohms comes out September 25th, 2020. 10 songs. Terry Date returns to record this one with them again. This was described as a return to their alternative metal original style, with one reviewer calling it dream pop with a metallic edge, which doesn't at all sound like original Deftones alternative metal style. So I don't know. I read all kinds of different weird stuff about this one. Stephen Carpenter first uses a 9-string guitar while recording this one. Does he use a 9-string guitar on stage? Like, I feel like that's a little much. We're getting into absurdity territory if we're playing 9-string guitars now. Is it like a 12-string but missing 3 strings? Is it like that, or is it like a line of, you know how they have those weird guitars now
Yeah.
that look like they have a million strings and they got the frets are like in a circle pattern kind of sort of
Yeah.
where they're angled like to get different sounds, which I don't know. People play these things, and I'm like, okay, I'm just not really that impressed with the difference. Like, okay, it sounds like a guitar, it sounds a little different, but I guess you'd have to really be a guitar player to just love that stuff. But I'm like, really, a 9-string guitar? I thought that was odd, so I put that in here. They got a couple Grammy nominations for the songs "Ohms" and "Genesis" on this album, which is, I believe, their first Grammy nominations.
Yeah, I think so.
Correct. I didn't read that was anywhere else, but. Again, this is their most recent album and only released since 2016, so that's kind of sad. But if they're going to put more gore out, then it can just go away. But this album I don't dislike as much as I dislike that one. So um, the song Urantia, it's weird because it sounds like a guitar sound check to me in the intro. Do you know what I'm talking about there on
Yep.
that song? It's so strange. And I was like, is this like a sound check that they just kind of fit into the song somehow, or is this the actual riff? But then once the song gets going, it's okay. It's just it's off putting at first because I'm like, it just sounds exactly like something you would hear at sound check, when they right before a band comes on stage. So um, my favorites on here are Ceremony, Headless, and Ohms. Those are kind of really the only cohesive kind of sounding tracks on here. Although I don't hate the rest of it. Here I have another example of a Chino song, Error. It's a skipper for me, where sometimes his vocals just don't go along with the song. Like he's hearing something other than what the rest of us are. The lyrics don't make sense, etc. I don't know what this song's about. And there's other songs on here that I'm on the fence if I want to skip them or kind of let them play out. So this is kind of number 7 for me. This is not bottom of the barrel. There's some cohesive sounding stuff here that's got some good melody, that's good, and then the rest is kind of hit or miss. Sometimes within the same song, a lot of times, if that makes sense. Like there's a part of the song that I like, and then there's a part of the song where I'm like, what are they doing here? Like there's some weird time changes in there that I thought were just. I'm like, why are we doing that? Like it didn't really make sense to me. Like it just kind of took away from what they were doing. It didn't add anything, it just almost should have been like broke that out into a separate song, but they kind of meshed them together because they sound similar enough, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe, but there were definitely parts of songs here where I'm like, I don't know what they're doing, but then other parts where I'm like, okay, this sounds, like the Deftones that I like for the most part. Like what, but then, 3.5 minutes into the song, I'm like, what happened? What's going on here? Just weird. But anyway, not totally bad. So B-, number 7. So what did you think of Ohms?
It's a solid record. I do like some moments on it. It's been it's been slow growing on me. It's I think my opinion is still kind of forming about it.
Wow, after 5 years.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
again, this is a band that I've lived album to album with, and I've spent 20 years or 30 years with Adrenaline. I've spent 25 years with White Pony.
Okay.
I just feel like these albums all are a sum of how long I've been listening to them, because
Really? Like it takes that long for it to seep into you?
maybe not that long.
I
I
don't know,
mean,
I feel
some
like
of
5 years is a long time.
well, some hit more than others, but again,
Yeah, true.
we're talking about ranking albums. Like
Yeah.
obviously, like I'm ranking them against each other.
Yeah.
Basically, how much I come back to them, how much like I think about the songs and the songs I want to go back to. And again, that's how I tried to build the order of this, because I really like all these albums. Like I
So, but the
really,
songs you really go back to more often are just
yeah.
on earlier albums, so
Yes,
that's okay.
yes, yes,
Okay.
exactly. So that's why I'm
I kinda
saying
understand that.
this song, I mean, this album has some room to grow in that sense of where I guess I just haven't loved these songs for so long that I just need to go back and hear them.
Yeah.
I don't come back to this album a whole lot. It's got some good moments on it. I like the song Genesis. I like Ceremony. I like the title track Ohms, and I like the song Error as well. I heard a few of these songs live. I did see them last year. I believe they played Genesis and Ohms when I saw them, and they sound great. This is a heavy album, maybe one of their heavier albums in a long time. Um, it sounds more fierce to me, like more angry, I guess, but without being angry, it just sounds like just a little bit heavier. It's good. Like I said, they're all good, but so far this one is going to fall number 8 for me, just behind Saturday Night Wrist. I think it probably will grow more the more I listen to it. I'm sure like I have this moment with all Deftones albums where I'm listening to it, and then something like clicks in my head and I'm like, all right, like I get this album for me. I don't know what it is. But Ohms hasn't done that for me yet. So that's why to me it's not like Saturday Night Wrist. It's not weird or experimental. It's very like by the numbers, I feel like. It's very straightforward. Um, and I think it has room to grow. I think there's some songs on here, kind of like where you were saying, like, do I like Urantia? Like, do I like it? I think I do. Do I love it? Nah, I don't really love it. Like the Spell of Mathematics, I think it's got some great stuff in there. Like, yeah, I could really like this song, but right now, I guess I kind of, even though it's been 5 years, I just feel like I haven't lived with this enough yet. Maybe it'll take the next one to come out for me to kind of go back here and see where they're at before and after. But Ohms is a B minus for me. Like I said, all the stuff is B range for me, at least, other than Saturday Night Wrist. But this is number 8 for me.
Okie doke. They're all B range for me except for 2.
They're all B range
So,
for me, but 1.
all right. So, I mean, we agree on that one. And
Yeah.
so the only
Yep.
album we really completely disagree on is Gore. So, I mean,
Well, that and
everything.
Adrenaline. You have
Well,
1, I have 6. So
yeah, number wise, but you still have it in a B range, and
I
I have
do.
it at A.
I do.
So, and
I do.
I have White Pony in B, and you have that at A plus. So
Right.
there's not as big a gap there as maybe number ranking would
True.
dictate.
This is true. Yeah,
But
this is
yeah,
true.
you're right. So I mean, like Ohms, you have at 8, I have at 7. You know,
Right.
so
Yeah.
Saturday Night Wrist, I have 8, you have at 9.
Yep.
So I mean, we're pretty close if you look at it that way. But
Yeah.
and I have a lot of B stuff too. This is a band I like. It's a band I get frustrated with because I feel like they do. I've mentioned this before on for other bands. Like I feel like they've added stuff that I didn't feel like they needed to add because they're such good musicians as they are. I don't feel like they need the extra stuff. And then when they overdo the extra stuff, I'm like, damn it, that's why you don't need that stuff in there. But I also get that that's kind of what gives them the feel that people get from them. And that's what happened when they gained popularity is when they did that. So I understand and I can accept it when it's there, but when it's overdone, it kind of makes me mad because like I'm like, you don't need that stuff. Like I just want to hear Stephen Carpenter play guitar and Abe Cunningham play drums and Chino not scream over stuff like that doesn't make sense with the song. Like you can scream all you want. I mean, I listen to plenty of death metal, but it's if it doesn't fit with the song, I'm like, what are you doing? Are you announcing stuff? Are you like an auctioneer? Like what are we doing? So I don't know. I just there's times that just I'm like, damn it, why can't they just do what they do best? But apparently what they do best is not the stuff that I like the most. So it is what it is. So it frustrates me, but that's me. So my overall ranking is number 9, Gore, number 8, Saturday Night Wrist, number 7, Ohms, number 6, Diamond Eyes, number 5, Koi no Yokan. Those are the albums I switched earlier today, Diamond Eyes and Koi no Yokan. I had them 5 and 6, and now I have them 6 and 5. Deftones, self-titled number 4, 3, White Pony, 2, Around the Fur, number 1, Adrenaline. What did you have?
Number 9, Saturday Night Wrist. Number 8, Ohms. Number 7, self-titled Deftones. Number 6, Adrenaline. Number 5, Gore. Number 4, Around the Fur. Number 3, Koi No Yokon. Number 2, Diamond Eyes. Number 1, White Pony. White Pony. So good. Love me some Deftones. Glad we decided to do Deftones. Just kind of reflamed the fire for my love of this band. So, and I think I appreciate all 9 of their albums, at least in a different way than I probably looked at them when they first came out. It's a weird band, like, to where I digest them differently than I digest other bands. So, I don't know. It's just very different. Very different than I listen to, like, a lot of metal bands. This isn't really like a typical band I listen to. Though I will say,
I'll give them that.
I will say though, a lot of their music, especially more of the atmosphere stuff that you're not necessarily a fan of, has really shaped a lot of the bands that I listen to now. And I'm glad that I did, because I would have a hard time finding new music I liked if it wasn't for that. Like bands for me like Bad Omens, bands for me like Dayseeker, like these are important bands to me because they're bands that me and my wife listen to together, and the atmosphere type stuff is things that she really, really likes, and I like. I'm the old rocker metalhead, and I feel like these marriages between these atmospheric music with like heavy stuff was birthed from the Deftones. I feel like they're the innovators of it. And again, maybe that's why I appreciate an album like Gore that a lot of people are very split on, where I guess like you just don't get it, don't like it. And that's, I totally understand that. I totally understand where you're coming from. I just feel like it's like these albums for the Deftones, it kind of was my gateway drug to some of this newer stuff that I never would have liked otherwise. I don't think I would have been like, give me the metal, give me the, the whatever, closer to the Kill Switches and those type of bands. But, they opened that doorway for me, and I appreciate that because of liking this other almost brand new genre of music. And, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Another reason why you can't call them new metal, So,
yeah.
I mean, they helped define, if not define in their own way. Like, I could think of some other bands that probably Faith No More comes to mind, that probably kind of paved the way for bands like this. And then this band took it to another level that bands now, Dayseeker, as you mentioned, bands like that take it to, take it kind of in their own direction, but may not be around or as popular as they are. They'd probably still be around, but Deftones, having made it as popular as they did, they're able to stick around longer, gain more fans because of the popularity of Deftones, and it also breeds more of that type of music. Now, I don't hate all of that. Like, I know it comes across like I do, and I don't. I feel like it gets overused, and I don't like when it gets overused. So there's a fine line for me between like atmosphere and then a subtle atmosphere that adds to the overall feel of the song, or like where the first minute and a half of the song is just all nothing and just like, I'm like, well, let's go. Like, let's go. Let's go. What are we doing? I guess if I'm stoned out of my mind and laying on the couch, maybe I wouldn't care, but I'm usually not.
That's the metalhead. That's the metalhead in you, man.
I guess
it's I'm ready for the riff. I'm ready for the song to get rolling.
Yeah.
you're not like, and again, I'm not a druggie. Like I'm not one of those
I'm
people
not.
that.
I didn't mean to say that you were, but
No,
I just, I feel like I
I
can
just have to
enjoy it more.
clarify.
Yeah,
I just have to
I get it.
clarify.
I get it.
You know, I like to sit in my recliner with my big headphones covering my ears, and I like to escape in a band like Deftones and a band like Dayseeker, and those type of whatever shoegaze, I guess is what they're calling it these days,
Yeah,
whatever. But
yeah,
I see that's why, I get into an album like White Pony, and like I melt into that album, and I don't want things to go any faster. I don't want things to get started. But when I'm listening to certain bands, like I want them to get started. So I have a different, I guess, mindset when I listen to a band like this. I'm more patient. I'm more like I want to be immersed. I want to feel the immersion of this atmosphere that Chino it likes to bring. But some of the stuff, like, he goes too far. Like, I don't like his side project Crosses. Like, to me that's too over the top atmospheric. Like, I want the atmosphere while my metal's going on, and I just think Deftones is that good marriage that brings that together for me.
I think we kind of said the same thing.
Yeah, I guess we kind of did. Right?
You love the atmosphere with your metal. Well, yeah, that's what I want too.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm okay with it taking a little longer to get started.
I guess
that's the difference.
I can't say that I always hate that either, though. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of times it gets to be frustrating with the Deftones because I know what they're capable of. Say like if they had always done it that way and I just really love the songs, then I'm okay with it, right? But when it's a change in what they do, and I loved what they did before, and then they add this stuff, and I'm okay with it. But then when it's like a third of the song is just that, then I'm like, all right, like I know what I really love by them, and I'm just like, where is it? And then sometimes it shows up, and sometimes it doesn't, right? So.
Right.
And that's where that's where I get frustrated with a band like the Deftones. I know what they're capable of. It's the same guys. I know what they're capable of. So, and it's just like, man, like, give me some of that. It doesn't have to be all that. Give me some of that. And sometimes it's just not there.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. You want more adrenaline, and I want more White Pony, and
I know. And I'm okay with White Pony. I don't. I kept trying to say that I don't want it to sound like I hate that album because I don't. Right. I know that's where the change really happened, and that's where their popularity kind of exploded, right? Even though 3 songs off of Around the Fur are in their top 5 played songs on Spotify. 3 songs off of that album.
Yeah.
So Mascara, Be Quiet and Drive, and and the first song.
Yeah, it's a great album.
So it's just, it got to be too far sometimes and whatever. So, but with a band that experiments like that, it's going to happen. And there's stuff even that you don't really care for that much.
Sure.
Too. So,
of course.
They even went too far for you in some cases. So.
Yep. Agreed.
But, sorry if I hurt your feelings or,
Who, my feelings?
Yeah.
No, I don't get
about Gore. Because, man, I just, I don't
care.
get it, man.
Hey, I don't have you sitting next to me when I turn that album on, so I don't have to.
I just feel like I almost felt like that almost brought the podcast down like 4 notches because just how much I didn't like it.
No, again,
and I felt like, man, I felt like I just crushed the whole mood here.
No, it's not a surprise. Again, I've a lot of. I'd go to a lot of message boards and things, and again, I get, you find a lot of people that either love it or they hate it. So I have read a lot of the hate, and yours matches along with it. It's not a surprise. I knew exactly what album you were going to have at the bottom. It's not a shock to me, but what more was shocking to me was that you called out all the songs that I really liked, which to me, that was, like, I think a lot of that album is not good.
Well, Geometric Headdress and Gore are 2, and you don't like either of those.
Yeah,
the other 2 you really like, and I didn't like.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But yeah, it wasn't all of them. But yeah, I don't know. I'm honest to a fault sometimes, and I've been saying that. I've been noticing and saying that a lot in my life lately. That sometimes I just I don't kind of know when to dial it back or when to kind of keep stuff to myself. So I don't want to come across as overbearing on some of this stuff just because I don't like it. It doesn't mean, again, I know I'm in the minority with Radiohead and with bands like this that most everybody else, like you said, their popularity wise, it's everything else that they do that I didn't like as much. So, but
well, we got it all covered. We got all
we did
the versions of Deftones. Whoever you are listening to this, we agree with you, at least one of us, at one point or another. So we got it all covered.
Brian S. He drank a lot. He drank underage a lot to these guys. That's fantastic. So I was 23 when the first album came out. So I was legally drinking to these guys. But yeah, I don't know. So anyway, that's the Deftones. Was good that we could fit them in after Deep Purple. I'm really happy with what we did last week and shut that one down a little bit so we could fit the Deftones in. And this was fantastic. And again, I did like more of this than I thought I would, because for a while there, the Deftones had lost me and really didn't get me back. But listening to this week kind of brought me back a little bit to at least there's some stuff here that I'm going to go back to that I wouldn't have otherwise. So,
Right.
So I got that. So I got that going for me. So
excellent.
Anyhow, on to the letter E.
Yep.
Next week will either be Monday or Wednesday. Herd is busy on Tuesday. So we will see where we're at come this weekend. If we're ready to do Monday, we'll do Monday. If not, then we will do Wednesday. But it will be the letter E in the band Exodus.
Some thrash metal.
So we'll see how we feel about Exodus.
All right, partner. Well, thanks for another awesome episode. A lot of good conversations as always. Next week we'll see either Monday or Tuesday for Exodus.
Monday or Wednesday.
I'm sorry, Monday or Wednesday. Tuesday will not be there.
And not Thursday, because we'll both be at Ghost. So it can't be Thursday either.
Ghost next week. So yes, we will be at Ghost. But yeah, if you listen to the episode, please leave a comment or a like. Just let us know what you think. Where do you weigh in on some of these albums?
Please crush me. Please crush me and tell me how wrong I am about the Deftones. I welcome all of it. Yeah, I can handle it. Please crush me.
We haven't really learned the YouTube thing yet. I feel like people are viewing our videos and stopping in and looking, but
not commenting. Yeah.
Not commenting or let us know. Let us know what you think. If you're listening, just give me your top 3 favorite albums. Let's hear what your worst. What's the one you don't like? Is it Gore?
Right.
Is it Saturday Night Wrist? Is it
right.
White Pony? Is it Adrenaline? What do you not like? Let us know. We'd love to hear from people that are listening. So please, if you have a second, just please, reach out to us. Let us know how we're doing, all that stuff.
We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what we could do better.
Yep.
All that
Absolutely.
stuff. So,
all right,
we seem to be growing, so that's good. We got some, we get a handful to, a few dozen people each week, it seems, no matter who we're doing listening. So that's good.
Yeah.
We just want to interact with you guys.
Yeah. We want to talk. We want to talk it out.
Right. We love talking music. That's why we have a podcast. We'd like to talk music with everybody.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, partner. Well, thanks for another great episode, and we will see you in the next one.
Rock on.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.